What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, and we are back with the final weekly recap of the month. Because as you know, the last Saturday of the month is usually reserved for Sound Off Saturday, which of course will commence a week from today on the 29th. But shout out to everybody that is here so far. If you have not done so already, make sure to hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all the mods, all the members, everybody over on Patreon, as well as everybody in the Discord. And if you have not joined the Discord, I highly suggest that you do, because that way you will be getting the notifications just in case you do not receive them over here. But before we get into everything, let me go ahead and acknowledge those who are here so far in the chat. We got Hurricane Nisi, Firebat, Dimple Face, Concerned Black American, Dark Titan X, All In. What's going on? We got Beat Up 680, Yosef, SD Johnson, Kobe, Anita Harrell, Wallow J, King Damo Garvin, Jesse Paris, Marco Brolo, Boilermaker 2006, KG. Who else is in here? Don P, what's going on? And let's see. Oh, we got Reggie in here as well. Shout out to each and every person that's here so far in the chat. I'm glad that each and every one of you are here. We have quite a few things that we're going to go over today, as you can see by the topics. As a matter of fact, the topics that are right there are all the topics. There's actually one more that I squeezed in there because I was going to do it as a separate video, but I already have like a jam-packed calendar, so I couldn't find anywhere to squeeze that topic in there. So I said, you know what, since I'm not doing a pre-record on the video, let me just throw that in here. But for the most part, the stuff that you see in the title is what we're going to be going over today. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. And of course, you know, if there's any good news that needs to be shared, I always start off with that. And we actually do have some good news. And it's on a topic that we over here love for the most part. And that is on the movie Sinners. So the final numbers for Sinners has officially come through. And these are its final numbers, because as y'all know or may not know, they re-released the movie Sinners for Halloween last month in IMAX and select theaters, and I think that's going to completely end its theatrical run. So this movie had 3 releases. It had its original release back in April. Then they re-released it for a week, like somewhere towards the end of May, for like a week in IMAX, and then they took it out and then they re-released it again for Halloween. So it had 3 releases all in 1 year. But they said the final worldwide gross for the movie Sinners is $367.8 million, with domestic earnings at $279.6. Now, mind you, this movie only had a $90 million budget. So that is, to say the least, very phenomenal. And had international earnings at $88.2 million. So it made the bulk of its money from inside the States. That's actually pretty damn impressive. It says this makes it the highest grossing original horror movie of the 2020. So that means of the last 5 years, and the highest grossing original worldwide movie in the last 15. So that means since 2010. And I think the last highest grossing movie that came out 15 years ago or within that time frame probably was Avatar. That's probably the movie they're referring to. That is kudos to Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, that entire cast and crew. They already saying that it's probably going to get, they're projecting it's going to be nominated for a lot of awards, which honestly it should. And the movie did what it did. This movie had legs. It took off from that starting lineup and did not stop. It had a lot of people talking about it. Like, the word of mouth helped push this movie over the top. As a matter of fact, I honestly believe that when the Michael biopic comes out next year, which ironically is coming out almost exactly a year from Sinners, because it's coming out around the same time, but just in 2026, that movie is going to have the same trajectory, probably more. So I'm looking forward to it. As D. Johnson said, 4 times the budget. Stevie, you woke. Yeah. Listen. I already said what I had to say about that fool a couple months ago as it came to his review. And if y'all was here last week, I did a live on that clown and that nonsense he was talking about, whatever it was last week. But yeah, shout out to everybody who worked on this film. It's great. Like one of the best movies I saw this year, hands down. Like it's definitely in my top 5 movies that I really enjoyed this year. So kudos to them. But now that we've gone over the good news, let's go ahead and get into the BS. But before we do that, shout out to SD Johnson for kicking off the super chat today. He said, "Hey Stevie, get the F out my face." Oh, well, since you did that, let me go ahead and just play the drop just because.
Boy, if you don't get the fuck out my face.
There you go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So I wanted to talk about this situation that happened at A&M, and I'm sure that some of y'all are aware, but there was this incident that occurred. Hold on, y'all. This thing, let me stop sharing right quick, and I'll bring it back up. There was this incident that occurred at Texas A&M where this rent-a-cop decided he was going to intentionally bump these players while walking through the tunnels. So in case y'all haven't seen it, let me go ahead now and play the clip for you. Let me see if it has sound.
That is trash. That is trash.
So y'all saw it. Y'all saw what he did. Like he literally walked and shoulder bumped both of these players and then had the nerve to point at them as if they were the ones in the wrong or they should have been the ones to get out of his way. All he had to do was turn his body to the side and slide through, because if you notice, the player that's on the left, he was kind of close to the player that's in the middle, and he moved his way out of the way so the cop could walk through them. But instead of the cop pivoting and turning sideways like he was supposed to, he shoulder bumps both of them in a very aggressive manner. Mind you, both these guys have pads on, so I'm almost certain that it would hurt him more than his shoulder bump would have ever hurt them. And then had the nerve to try to make it seem like they were the ones in the wrong. Now, here's the thing. Thank God that this was caught on video, because who knows what this would have turned out to be or what kind of lie he would have told to the press if this was not caught on camera. But there is an update that did come from that, and that's going to segue us into this article. Trooper on Texas A&M sidelines relieved of his game day assignment after bumping and scolding South Carolina players. Actually, honestly, he should be fired altogether. He should be stripped of his rank, his position, all of that, and he should be terminated. Like, attack those pockets. A Texas Department of Public Safety trooper bumped South Carolina wide receiver Nick Harbor and scolded him after Harbor scored a touchdown late in the first half of the Gamecocks game at Texas A&M. So you got mad because of that. Okay. After Harbor pulled away from Aggies defender on the way to an 80-yard touchdown, he slowly jogged up a tunnel while favoring his hamstring. As Harbor was followed by teammates and the South Carolina players walked out of the tunnel second after the touchdown, an officer bumped through the players before turning around to angrily say something to them. The officer's actions led to condemnation on social media from even LeBron James, who said that he should be suspended. And long after LeBron's tweet, and as the incident went viral, both the Texas A&M Police Department and the Texas DPS tweeted that the officer had been taken off the field for the rest of the game. Harbor's touchdown extent, well, let's just go into the stats, but that's pretty much it. He should have been fired, honestly. And that's how they start shit. That's how they start that shit. And that's exactly why a lot of people don't be liking these cops right now, because when you look at something like that, it makes you wonder if he's doing something like that at a sporting event in that tunnel. What is he doing if he pulls somebody over when there's nobody but him and the driver around? Like, this could have been avoided, and this guy is definitely older than these guys for sure, but this is exactly why I said age doesn't define maturity either. But he decided, I'm just going to bump right through these guys and then scold him as if he was in the wrong. And like I said, he probably didn't even think that no one was watching. And the thing is, or the flip side, he probably did know somebody or something was watching, but still didn't care and did it anyway. And then love to say we the ones around here starting shit. I'm telling you, you give them that badge and that gun and they think they got what's going on, JK. Peace and be one to you. Business, he said no extra pay for the trooper. Exactly. Dimpleface said he should be behind bars. Don P said that cop was drifting. Oh yeah, Miss Nisi, that was intentional. That was no accident. He intentionally did that because, like I said, when you look at the angle, he could have turned himself sideways to get through him because the one player made space for him to get through him, but he just decided I'm gonna bump and notice how aggressive he used his shoulders to do it. It's not like he had his head down and he wasn't paying attention. He bumped into them on accident. He had his eyes. He saw them coming his way and decided to just bump them anyway. And then when they turn around and check him on it, he wants to get mad and make it seem like it was their fault. So yeah, he an asshole for that. Ironwood said he was calling them boy in the whole nine. Probably. Who knows what he was saying? Only those players do if he was loud enough for them to hear it. But let's go ahead now and head on over to this story that has been making airways for the last couple of days. And I think, I know that Professor Black Truth did a moment of truth on this. And that's this situation coming out of Texas with this woman who was in labor and she didn't get the treatment that she was supposed to receive. So this video is about 9 minutes long. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. I tried to find a shorter version of it, but I couldn't find one. So for those of y'all who haven't seen this, here we go.
Some new insight on this video seen by millions of people around the world. A woman claims her daughter in labor was delayed care at a hospital in Mesquite.
Hold on. Before we finish this, shout out to Lynn for the $100 super chat. Y'all put some hundreds in the chat for Lynn. She said, Mr. Rain, you the bomb. I appreciate you. I wholeheartedly appreciate that contribution. I appreciate it. All right, let's get back into it.
And she captured the incident on camera.
She sits down with our Brittany Moncrief to break down what she says happened.
But we want to be upfront and warn you, some of the video may be difficult to watch.
When shock turns to disbelief, and disbelief turns into anger, this soon-to-be grandmother's camera became her truth.
Because I had film and I showed the world what my daughter went through, what my grandson went through.
She have give birth in a chair. That's what it is. I can't take her upstairs without you.
It was the video that they believed.
When's your due date?
Right now.
And now millions around the world have seen it too. Monday night, November 10th. Kashina Manuel says she was at home with her daughter Kiara when her water broke. She says they called ahead to the hospital, taking this picture, time-stamped at 11:43 p.m. while on their way. Kashina says Kiara's contractions were coming faster.
She went from 4 minutes to the car ride 2 minutes apart.
She says they arrived at Dallas Regional Medical Center in Mesquite just before midnight and saw two nurses at the emergency room entrance.
On the assumption they are waiting on us, when she realized my vehicle wasn't an ambulance, she told me that space was for ambulance only.
Kashina says she was then told to drive around to the opposite end of the hospital, and once getting there, she ran inside for help.
I was told there should be a wheelchair outside with the vending machines.
But she says there wasn't a wheelchair and a nurse had to bring one.
I said, I need assistance with getting her. Are you not going to help me? And she politely said no and closed the door.
Instead, Kashina says a security guard saw her and went to her car to help bring Kiara inside.
When we opened the door, she was on all fours and she was screaming.
Once Kiera was inside and after Kashina parked her car, she went into the ER.
I see her parked on the side, isolated, in pain, by herself, people behind the desk working as normal, as they didn't hear her. I walked up to them and I was like, what are we doing? She's in active labor. She is about to have that baby. And they said, we need the paperwork.
This picture at 12:15 shows them at the emergency room registration window.
And I look over there, she had the paper in her hand, arched like a cat, screaming. And I'm like, are you really wanting us to get this? And she's in labor. And that lady looked at me and she said, the quicker you sign, the quicker we can get her in the back.
Kashina says Kiera signed the paperwork and was taken to the triage area.
How many times have you been pregnant?
3.
This is your 3rd pregnancy?
Yes.
You have 2 babies
It's
at
in
home?
my.
You have 2 babies at home?
She was just weakened.
Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor.
She had no power, no control over her body, her words. She was trembling.
When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors.
About 30 minutes after Kashina says they arrived at the hospital, Kiera is taken to labor and delivery at 12:29.
Oh, damn.
As soon as they pulled a shorts off, one of the nurses, she just froze. And at this point, she grabbed his head that filled her hand. He was not crowning, he was birthing. And she begged my daughter not to move.
At 12:35, Kiera's son was born.
It wasn't about my daughter, her pain, and worst of all, my grandson who had no voice. He wasn't even considered. I was in the emergency room. And it was paperwork over life.
Kashina says she's tried filing a formal complaint with the hospital management, but after 2 days, she didn't hear back.
He's eating well, sleeping well.
So she posted the videos to social media.
These are stories we hear and we read all the time. We know they're happening, but they don't hear us. This is not black against white. This is a system issue. That hospital, that's culture.
In a statement, Dallas Regional Medical Center says, at Dallas Regional Medical Center, the safety, dignity, and well-being of our patients are always our highest priorities. We are committed to providing compassionate, high-quality care to every person who comes through our doors. And we are reviewing this situation to understand what occurred. Due to patient privacy laws, we cannot share further details at this time, but our focus remains on ensuring that every patient receives the attentive, respectful care they deserve. We reached out to the nurse seen in this triage video. Her family told us she's been placed on leave and declined comment until the hospital's investigation is complete.
This was egregious deviation from the standard of care.
Dr. Jennifer Ashton is a nationally known board-certified OBGYN.
It's our job in medicine
who has delivered over 1,500 babies.
She says that she feels rectal pressure. What should have happened is that woman should have been put on a stretcher. Her clothes should have been taken off. I would have done what we call in the hospital setting, filled the boat. I would have had pediatrician there, an anesthesiologist there, a neonatologist there, if necessary, multiple nurses.
Dr. Ashton says that response helps prepare for any possible complications.
There could have been significant negative consequences to her and her baby because of the care that she did not receive. When someone comes in with a gunshot wound, are they told they have to fill out paperwork? I don't think so.
Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
Not only was it inhumane, but it actually was dangerous.
I'm not sure when her due date is.
Her due date
Just said it was the 10th.
I think her due date is the 10th.
The goal is to do no harm, to look at the patient and to treat the patient.
Twin nurse practitioners, Sharon Allen and Karen Staggers, have years experience in the ER and with deliveries.
If a woman comes in and she's pregnant and she's in active what's called first or second stage labor, usually first stages of labor, that woman is immediately referred to an OB specialist in the hospital.
Both nurse practitioners and Dr. Ashton say this speaks to a larger issue in the U.S., maternal mortality.
Women are not taken seriously when they are in emergency medical situations, and Black women are especially not taken seriously.
If we don't advocate for our patient, then who does?
For Kashina,
Helpless.
a mother watching her own daughter in pain,
because I couldn't do anything for her.
it's still difficult.
She sits and watches her son, and she would cry because if she moved the wrong way, he would not be here today.
The thought of what could have happened, even harder than what did. Kashina says her grandson had a bowel movement during birth, and because of that, she said hospital staff had to drain fluid from Kiera before she was finally able to hold her son. Kashina says both mom and baby are doing okay. Now, Wednesday, Texas State Representative Retta Andrew Bowers says she met with other Texas House of Representatives and Dallas Regional Medical Center CEO and Mesquite's mayor to discuss this incident, its impact, and what steps are being taken.
All right, y'all. So that's pretty much the end of that. Listen, that was actually my first time watching that video in its entirety because I had only seen the clip of the recording that the woman's mother made, the grandmother of the son of her daughter's son. And this was hard to watch. Like I'm listening, and I'm watching the video, and I'm looking at y'all comments, and I'm just thinking of all the women in my chat who are mothers. And I see one said that something similar, I think All In said something similar like that happened with her first child. And I'm just sitting there saying to myself, they're not beating the allegations as far as the lack of care that Black women get when it comes to pregnancy and giving birth. This is exactly why I think a lot of Black women should look into, if they can, having home births. Like, you know how they have those home births, like those water births? Try looking into that, because this is absolutely unacceptable. And I hope that raggedy red-haired bitch who looks like a Temu Jean Grey gets fired. She needs to be sued, and she needs to be charged, because she put this woman in a position where she could have lost her child because of her negligence. And just not caring. I mean, she's just sitting there typing at the computer and being very nonchalant. This woman is literally screaming out in pain for 30 freaking minutes. And you are just there basically ignoring her like it's nothing. I can only imagine, hey, Miss Nisi, I feel your pain. That's why I said years ago, I said, women, y'all bodies are strong to be able to endure something like that. I can only imagine what women had to go through before they gave y'all epidurals before y'all got the epidural. I can only imagine what it was like for women, like maybe in our grandparents and great grandparents' time before they can get that shot. They actually had to feel that pain. But unfortunately, y'all, this type of story did not end there, because we go from Texas north to Chicago, where unfortunately another incident very similarly happened not too long after that one.
To her baby in her car minutes after being turned away from a Northwest Indiana hospital.
Video shows her being wheeled out by hospital staff, and she's clearly in pain. Our SL Razai is live in Munster, where the woman and her baby are recovering right now. SL?
Yeah, Joe, Erica, the videos the family posted online have quickly gone
viral.
Indiana. It shows them at another hospital about 30 minutes away from here in Crown Point. The family says 8 minutes after being turned away from there, their baby was born in their car. 911 dispatchers were on the phone with them and led them here to Community Hospital, where they say they were welcomed with open arms.
But is being kicked out of this hospital and she's in active labor.
This is video the family posted to Facebook showing Mercedes Wells being pushed down the hallway of a Crown Point hospital in a wheelchair.
My uterus.
Her family says she was in active labor, but they say hospital staff told her because she was only dilated 3 centimeters, she would have to come back later. Her sister-in-law, Sharice Joy Thompson, says they were visiting family in Indiana, and the baby wasn't due for another couple of weeks.
I feel like my family's rights have been violated.
She says 8 minutes after being discharged from Franciscan Health in Crown Point, the baby was born in the car.
She said, I got to push. And so he was driving with one hand, ripped her pants off with the other hand, and looked down, and he said he could see the baby's head. And he was like, oh my God, here's the baby's head. He like grabbed a blanket, caught the baby, and then put the baby on my sister-in-law's chest, Mercedes' chest, and the umbilical, everything was still attached, and they kept on driving.
She says they're grateful for the staff at Community Hospital, where the family is now.
911 was able to call the hospital and give them notice that they were coming. And so there were 15 doctors and nurses outside waiting for them to arrive.
She called her brother a hero.
He was able to, be calm and deliver his baby in that kind of like pressure.
She shared how her sister-in-law is feeling right now.
So when I went to the hospital yesterday, when I opened up the door, Mercedes saw me, she just started crying because she feels violated. She feels unheard. She feels dismissed.
And right now, the family hopes hospital staff that turned Mercedes away are held responsible. For Franciscan Health in Crown Point says they've opened an internal investigation into the alleged incident. We know right now mom and baby are here recovering and doing well. Live in Munster, Indiana, I'm Errol Musk, CBS News Chicago.
Wow, that's great.
All right, so y'all just heard that one. Like I said, this one happened in Indiana. I have to correct myself. Wow. But before I really get into it, shout out to this woman's husband for jumping in and having to basically be a doctor without a license to help his wife who is in labor to deliver their child in the car because she got turned away because they said she was only 3 centimeters dilated. What kind of bullshit is going on here? Again, going back to my original point, I think a lot Black women need to look more into home births. Like seriously. The fact that this happened back to back is crazy. Not saying that if this happened later on, it wouldn't be bad. But the fact of the matter is that when I got sent this, I already knew about the previous story. But when somebody sent this, I was looking at it thinking to myself and was getting ready to reply to the person and say, oh, somebody sent me this. I already knew about it. I'm going to talk about it on Saturday. Not realizing it was a whole nother story. Literally happening so close together, just in 2 different states. Now, I wonder if these 2 women know about each other because now they share a similar story. They share a very similar story. And just like in the previous story, this woman, they said her, like when she was getting ready to push the baby out and the dad was about to help get the baby out, you can see the head. Like she literally right there. Like I said, this is a historical thing. And it looks like, like they always say, history tends to often repeat itself. We're looking at history repeating itself in real time. This is going to make a lot of Black women who are pregnant start looking at some of these hospitals with a side eye, if they even know that these stories exist. I'm glad that they're putting it out there, but I think that these 2 stories need to be propelled even further than what they are, beyond just a local level thing. Because I'm sure these incidents, they don't happen in a vacuum. I'm sure they happen all over the nation. It's just that some of them or a lot of them just unfortunately go unheard. But yeah, like, wow. But let me move on now to the next story. Now, this story right here, I didn't initially have in my lineup, like I said before. But when I saw it, I said, I got to talk about this. So you have Well, let me read the title. Neo-Nazi cult leader who goes by the name of Commander Butcher admits monstrous plot to give New York City kids poisoned candy. Like I said, I initially was going to do this as a separate video, but I already have so many videos locked in for like the next 2 weeks. So I said, let me go ahead and just throw this into the live. Let's get into it. A neo-Nazi cult leader has pleaded guilty to plotting a New Year's Eve attack in New York City using a terrorist dressed as Santa Claus, dishing out poison candy to children. Mikhail, and I cannot pronounce his last name, but it is extremely foreign, age 22, known as Commander Butcher, admitted soliciting hate crimes and providing instructions on how to make bombs and the poison ricin as part of a monstrous plot and propaganda, leading his international maniac murder cult, according to the feds. The Georgian, and that's where he's from. He's not from the state of Georgia. He's from the country Georgia. Neo-Nazi, who also inspired mass shooters with his Haters Handbook, pleaded guilty in Brooklyn federal court on Monday after being hauled back to the U.S. from Moldova to face justice, and that's him right there. He admitted his vile actions, including recruiting others to commit acts of violence against Jewish and racial minority children, said U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella Jr. Mikhail traveled to New York in June 2022 and encouraged others to perform hate crimes on behalf of his maniac murder cult, communicating largely via the messaging app Telegram. One such twisted scheme involved someone dressing as Santa Claus to hand out poison candy to minority children on New Year's Eve. He was caught when he solicited an individual to carry out bombings and arson attacks targeting Jews and other racial minorities, not realizing that he was speaking to an undercover FBI agent. Mikhail had instructed the undercover agent to dress as Santa and, after handing out candy, catch a taxi to a predetermined location to burn the Santa costume and destroy burner phones. Mikhail also solicited the undercover agent to commit bombings and arson. When that plan failed, he plotted a similar scheme targeting Jewish children in schools in Brooklyn in January 2024. He sent detailed manuals about creating and mixing lethal poisons and gases, including ricin, according to the police. Since September, he had distributed copies of his Haters Handbook in which he instructed cult members on how to commit school shootings. His words inspired at least 2 attacks, including one in the U.S. In 2025, in January, a student aged 17 killed one person, wounding another before taking their own life at an attack in Antioch High School in Nashville. And for those of y'all, hold on, y'all. And for those of y'all who don't know what the Antioch one they're talking about, that was that black kid, that 17-year-old, the one who had extreme self-hate issues. That's the one that they're talking about. The one, I would say, the tether. I'll put it like that. The attacker live streamed part of the attack. Prior to the attack, in an audio recorded, most posted online and attributed to him, the attacker claimed he was taking action on behalf of the maniac murder cult and at least one other group. Mikhail was also mentioned by name by an attacker who filmed himself stabbing 5 people outside a mosque in Turkey while wearing a vest with Nazi symbols. He was extradited from Moldova to the U.S. in May 2025 to face the allegations and entered a guilty plea on Monday. He now faces up to 40 years in prison. And I always tell y'all, pay attention to wording. They said up to 40 years. That doesn't mean 40 years. So you can only hope that they throw the book at him and he actually gets the 40, but then he's only 22. So if he does get it, he'll be out when he's 62, maybe 63 at the most. Violent, nihilistic, racist groups like these are an ongoing threat to the American people. Our vigilance will not waver as we protect our citizens, said Attorney General Pam Bondi. And that's probably all Pam Bondi's going to say about this. But yeah, that is crazy. Imagine this guy came all the way over from another nation to come and commit terroristic acts on people he does not like. But guess what? I bet you lamestream media is not going to talk about this, number one. And I'm almost certain that the usual suspects over on Twitter with the blue check ain't going to talk about it either, because they'll be doing what? Spending too much time talking about us. Oh, no, most definitely. He should get life. Unfortunately, he probably won't because the plan didn't get carried out. So that's why they said up to 40 years. So they can only get him on basically planning or plotting to do it, because it didn't go through because remember, he was speaking to an undercover FBI agent. But if the plan actually went through and he wasn't talking to an agent and it actually happened, life imprisonment for sure, especially if somebody lost their life. And unfortunately, New York doesn't honor the death penalty. So that would have been off the table. That wouldn't have even been on the table. Xavier said Trump and his goons will never call. Of course not. No, he's too busy having parties with the Saudi Arabian prince to care. That's what's going on. But yeah, I had to insert this story in here just in case y'all were unaware of it. Now, if y'all live in New York, y'all probably heard about it. If y'all live in the state of New York. All right, let's move on to the next story. Let me refresh the page right quick. Okay, so we got to talk about Errol Musk. Now, I've talked about Errol Musk once before. Oh my God, this damn thing. Hold on, y'all. I've talked about Errol Musk before in the past, and let me just tell you, the apple does not fall too far from the tree when it comes to his son and him. So Errol Musk, I think the last time I forgot what he said that he said that his son Elon can't be racist because he had a black nanny. And I'm sitting here like, Errol Musk, sit your old decrepit ass down somewhere talking that bullshit. Now here he is sometime later, and let's read the caption. Elon Musk's dad says if the U.S. becomes a minority white country, it will be bad. And he's quoted as saying, you want to go back to the jungle. Mind you, Errol Musk doesn't even live, as far as I know, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, does not live in the U.S. And I know why Xavier said Elon Musk's dad is a creep or a freak. I know exactly why you said that. But let's go ahead and see and actually hear in its entirety what he said.
The big concern at the moment, and why I think South Africa is a big talking point in the US right now, is America in the next 20 years will become, for the first time in its history, a minority white country.
Well, that will be a very, very bad thing to happen. You want to see the US go down? Why? Oh, you don't like cars and electric cars, and you don't like technology, or what is it? Do you want to go back to the jungle, or?
If the US becomes a minority white country.
Yes.
So there's Latinas, there's blacks, there's people from all different races make up the majority, and then it could be 48% white people. Do you really think the US is doomed if it goes under?
Yes, it goes under there.
Seriously?
Yes, of course. You see, if you take South Africa, we have a small white population that projects the European culture, or what we learned from Europe.
And oppressed millions of black people.
No.
For decades.
How do you oppress? We gave them work. We fed them. They grew from a tiny little group into a massive group. That's not oppression. That's feeding them. Do you understand? You only grow big if you get fed. You only start at 800 and become 50 million if you get fed. We fed them, for crying out loud. Enough with this nonsense.
But so you understand, because the black population was so oppressed under apartheid.
Well, we never saw this oppression you're talking about.
You never saw it.
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, because you're white. The big.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. So this is why remember when Elon did that salute and they tried to mask it as something else, and we said that was a bunch of BS. Then you hear what his dad says right here, and whoever said he looks like Vincent Price, it's like a combination of Vincent Price and what Al Pacino looks like right now. Remember, Elon had a huge hand in apartheid. That's how he got and acquired his wealth, basically being a colonizer. He said, we did not oppress. We gave them work. We helped them. What is this oppression that you speak? I said, when you listen at this and you look at Elon, I'm like, they are literally two peas in the same rotting pod. They literally are like the same person. Then he said, the part that got me was about if the U.S. becomes a major minority nation, then what's going to happen is going to turn into a jungle. And he says, what's going to happen to all the technology? What's going to happen to the electric cars? Basically bigging up his son. Well, Errol, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but Elon's handling of a lot of these Tesla trucks is not the best, especially with all the electrical problems and errors that this car has been having based on a lot of people that have been complaining about them. So I don't know where he thinks that his son is this grandiose genius. Okay, you said that was good? Hey, I try. I try. But yeah, the nerve of this dude. And the thing is, a lot of people that's in the comment section aren't even mad at what he said. They're laughing at it. Because it's gotten to the point where a lot of black people can't even bring themselves, or ourselves rather, to get mad at some of the stuff that they say because it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's like, is this comedy hour? He said, it's going to turn into the jungle. Don't you want technology? Don't you want electric cars? We helped them. What is this apartheid that you speak? I rebuke it. All the while, he's not even living in the place that he's complaining about. I think Jay the Informant said he's in the UK. Go figure. Then try to make it seem like he was being oppressed. What? Sybil said, I think the grandfather was well, it looks to well, if that is true, it just sounds like the Musk men are just musty. Yeah, but I'm not. You can even tell the interview was like looking at him and trying to figure out, like, what the hell are you talking about? The interview could have very well knew what he was walking into, but he just wanted to see it for himself because he may not have interviewed Errol Musk before. And it looks like it's a part of a special. It's called Misinformation White Genocide. And it says and this was posted 6 days ago. So this was 6 days. So what was it? This past Sunday? That actually sounds interesting. Like, I should watch that to see what nonsense they gonna say in that, because you already know the usual suspects feel like they being replaced out here. But anyway, y'all, he like I said, apple ain't far from that tree. Let's move on to this one. Oh, we got to talk about this person named Eli. We went from talking about Elon and Errol. Now we about to talk about Eli. This person named Eli Weinstein, as far as I know, no relation to Trump. I mean, not Trump to, well, he does have a relation to Trump, but not like that. But he has no relation to Harvey Weinstein. So look at this. Freed from prison by Trump in 2021, New Jersey con man gets 37 years in latest scheme. No, he didn't marry his stepdaughter. He had a child with her. I was gonna try not to bring that up, but you put it in the chat. But yeah, in case y'all didn't, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and look this up for y'all before we go into this. Look at this. In case y'all want to know, and why Xavier said Errol Musk is a creep. Errol Musk has a stepdaughter named Jana, whom he had 2 children with. He married her mother, Heidi, in the early 1990s. And Musk has fathered children with both his stepdaughter and the stepdaughter's mother. And this dude has the nerve to sit up there and say what is and what is not right for the U.S. Go figure. So I just wanted to bring that up just in case y'all wasn't unaware. But now let's get into this story right here. A New Jersey Ponzi schemer whose 24-year prison term for fraud convictions was commuted by Donald Trump in 2021 is headed back behind bars for another multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Now, you got to be dumb as hell to, first off, you got a presidential pardon for the same thing you're about to go back to jail for, and this time get even more time than what you was initially getting back in 2021. You are a dumbass. Eli Weinstein, age 51, was sentenced on November 14 to 37 years in a federal prison for falsely promising investors access to supplies bound for war-torn Ukraine, according to court documents. U.S. District Judge Michael A. Shipp imposed the sentence on Weinstein and ordered him to make $44,294,803 in restitution. Weinstein of Lakewood, New Jersey, stood trial earlier this year and was found guilty on March 31st of 15 of 17 counts in a federal indictment charging securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, making false statements to and concealing material facts from the United States Probation Office, obstruction of justice, and conspiracies to commit those crimes. He was acquitted of 2 obstruction charges. Before the case, Weinstein was twice convicted in federal court of defrauding investors out of a total of $230 million. In 2014, he was sentenced to 22 years in prison for a $200 million real estate Ponzi scheme from 2004 to 2011. Was this guy taking tips from Bernie Madoff? His prison term was extended by 2 years for committing additional fraud in 2014 while he was on pretrial release in the first case. So this guy clearly has an addiction to lying and stealing. Trump commuted his sentence on January 19, 2021, the day before his first presidential term ended. As a result, Weinstein was released from prison after serving less than 8 years. Soon after being released from prison, Weinstein embarked on a new scheme to solicit money by offering lucrative opportunities to invest in deals involving the pandemic mask, scarce baby formula, and first aid kits supposedly bound for war-torn Ukraine. Weinstein masked his true identity in the venture and instead used Mike Koenig as an alias because, as he acknowledged in a secretly recording conversation with co-conspirators, investors wouldn't give them a penny if they knew of his involvement, according to documents and statements made in court. After investors weren't paid, the conspirators agreed to pool money from existing investors and use it to make payments to other investors in a Ponzi-like fashion. After revealing his true identity to conspirators in a secretly recorded meeting in August 2022, Weinstein admitted misappropriating investors' money and said, I finagled and Ponzi'd and lied to people to cover us, according to court documents and statements made in court. In 2024, Weinstein, along with his conspirator Ari Bromberg, age 51, was indicted for the fraud scheme. At the time, prosecutors said 3 other alleged conspirators had previously pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit securities fraud. That same year, 2 others also pleaded guilty to conspiring with Weinstein, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of New Jersey in Asbury Park Press, part of the USA Today network. As alleged, soon after Weinstein got out of jail after receiving a presidential commutation, he picked his Ponzi schemer's playbook back up and allegedly started ripping off victims again. Weinstein didn't try to make his prior victims whole, he made more victims. Weinstein stood trial with Bromberg, who was convicted of 10 counts in the indictment. Shipp on November 14th sentenced Bromberg to 12 years in prison. So again, this dude, like I said, he's dumb as hell. You got the opportunity of a lifetime to clean your act up, but you said nope. As soon as you got out of jail, you went right back to your old ways. Mind you, he was already locked up for 8 years prior to Trump pardoning him. So you thought that he made it seem like he was in there only for 8 days. You were in there for 8 years and you got out and went right back to it like nothing happened. That's why I say he's a dumbass. And hopefully all these charges at this point, they should. I mean, they stuck before, but hopefully he stays behind bars the entire time. Not, no more pardons. Xavier said that Weinstein name seems cursed. It very well might be. Like I said, I don't know if this man is related to Harvey or not. because Weinstein, that's not a name you hear every day. So let's move on to the next story. And this story right here, I'm gonna admit to y'all, is very disturbing. It is very disturbing. And it kind of reminds me of all the other type of stories that I've done that involve people who torture people inside the home and all types of other debaucherous things. So look at this 4-way fuck up. Look, it's a trio charged in House of Horrors after girl age 14 weighing 35 pounds found and a fourth suspect arrested. A man and 2 women in Wisconsin are facing multiple felony charges after authorities discovered a severely neglected 14-year-old girl in their care who weighed just 35 pounds and was described as very, very close to death. Green Bay Fox affiliate WLUK reports that Walter S. Goodman, the victim's father, along with her adult stepsister Savannah and Savannah's partner Kayla, were arrested and charged with chronic child neglect resulting in great bodily harm and emotional damage. As of Wednesday, Oneida Police Chief Eric Bollinger confirmed that Melissa Goodman, who is Walter's wife but not the victim's mother, is also in custody and expected to be charged. The investigation began after Walter called 911 on the evening of August 21st, reporting that his daughter, whom he claimed was autistic, was comatose and has not eaten in the last 4 or 5 days. He told the dispatcher that his daughter was underweight because she just don't eat and that her legs look horrible due to self-harm. She's just laying there with her eyes open, looking all creepy. First responders immediately noted the victim's severe malnourishment upon her arrival, observing that her bones, including her collarbone, rib cage, hip, and cheekbones, were highly prominent. She appeared to be the size of a 6 to 8-year-old child. Now, they said she hadn't eaten in 4 to 5 days, but if they could see all of that, that probably hasn't eaten in maybe the last 4 to 5 weeks. Due to the severity of her condition, the teen was airlifted to Children's Hospital in Milwaukee, where doctors diagnosed her with severe malnourishment and expressed high concern that she could suffer catastrophic organ failure within 72 hours. Medical personnel also found that she had a very large bruise on her forehead, multiple bed sores, and a concerningly low glucose level of 24. Walter told authorities that his daughter had been sick for the last 6 days, but did not seek medical attention because he thought her condition was quote unquote normal kid stuff. He also told the officers the girl's mother was a diabetic, and while the victim had never been tested for the disease, he assumed her sugar might be low. So I gave her a little bit of wild cherry Pepsi. Police scrutiny of Walter's account revealed deeply disturbing details. He admitted to authorities that he had installed a camera inside his daughter's bedroom because she self-harms and also placed an alarm on the door, claiming that she would stay awake for 1 to 3 weeks at a time. However, the criminal complaint obtained in WLUK cites a friend of Walter's who recalled a separate incident where the victim came out of her room and spoke to him. The friend claimed Walter was irritated and allegedly made several chilling comments, including, "If she misbehaves, I'm not going to feed her today." When confronted, Walter allegedly doubled down, stating, "Well, I keep her locked up in her bedroom with a camera on her, and that's where she stays." The friend also recalled Walter once going on a tirade about the girl, saying, "If I could leave her somewhere in the woods, I would." He also recalled Walter telling the girl, "I wish I could kill you." Now, this is what he is saying about his own daughter. This is what he's saying about his own child. Further inquiry revealed that the victim had no medical records for the past 5 years, which coincided with the time she began living with Walter in his household. Police also spoke with a former 3rd-grade teacher for the victim who contradicted Walter's claims of autism, recalling that the teen as a healthy, normal student who was friendly and talkative. According to the criminal complaint, the victim attended 1 year of virtual school after the pandemic before she was reported as homeschooled. WLUK notes that the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction requires homeschoolers to be registered with the state, but once that happens, there is no statute that requires any state agency to monitor anything. Authorities says Lefevre and Stemler would look after the victim in the absence of Goodman and his wife, who were often out of town, so another child in their care could get cancer treatment. During those times, Lefevre and Stemler continued to abuse and neglect the victim. At a Tuesday, November 11th court hearing, Outagamie County Assistant District Attorney Julie DeQuain called it the most egregious case of child neglect I think I've ever seen in my nearly 25-year career. Court Commissioner Brian Figi, who presided over the hearing, stated the allegations suggest the minor was living in a house of horrors. Figi set cash-only bonds for the trio, $150,000 each for Walter and Stemler, and $100,000 for Lefevre. Honestly, they should get no bond. After reading all of this, they should not get no bond. Let they asses rot right in there and do to them what they did to that girl. Walter returns to court for a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing for Stemler has been set for the 19th, which was a couple days ago, and Lefevre's was on the 20th, which was 2 days ago. Wow, that was crazy. And like I said, these are the 4 culprits right here, and this is the sperm donor right here. That is crazy. And again, you know who? The usual suspects are not going to talk about this, and we know why they're not going to talk about this. They're going to claim they didn't hear about it. It's funny, they don't hear about stuff that be going on in their own backyard, but they have so many, they take time out of their day to find stuff about us. Xavier said, Lord knows if they were black, they wouldn't get any leniency. Right, they shouldn't, and neither should they. Because had they been black, I would have been just as disgusted with them as I am now with them. But yeah, like you said, I feel like when you get a bond for something like this, and $100,000, $150,000, and $100,000 is relatively low considering the crime in which they committed. If they were going to set a bond for them, which they did, it should have been way higher than that. But like I say, certain crimes should not get a bond. This is one of them. But yeah, these 4 degenerates are trash. They look it and they are it. Now let's get on to the last story, and this story has been taking up social media's bandwidth for the last, I don't know, week or so, or at least since this trailer dropped. So, and shout out to Black Alpha, because this actually was his topic of discussion last night on his channel, or one of them. So, as y'all know, the Michael biopic trailer dropped a couple weeks ago, and I'm just so looking forward to it. But you also know there are a plethora of Michael Jackson impersonators out there. I think Michael Jackson has some of the most impersonators out of any artist out there. There are others, but he has a lot of them. But none like this person named Fabio Jackson, who apparently is having a severe identity crisis to the point where he actually believes that he is Michael Jackson. So we're going to go ahead now and look at this 3.5 minute video. And the caption reads, Fabio Jackson clears up the air with the rumors that's been going around about him being an impersonator to Michael Jackson. Oh, and I don't have it, but there was another video that Black Alpha played on his live last night where Fabio Jackson was up there talking about Michael Jackson's mother, Catherine, was, if someone was in the chat, help me out, Hispanic and Japanese. I think that's what he said. And I'm like, if Catherine Jackson was Hispanic and Japanese, she would not look like that. Just up there lying. But let's get into it. Oh, my bad. Hold on, y'all. I'm glad y'all said that, because I'm just sitting here just listening to this nonsense. Like, what the hell is he talking about? All right, y'all, let's start it again.
He just did my nostrils. Everybody does their nose at one point in their life. I'm pretty sure it would be probably about 75% of the population that would have done it if they could. If they could, someone, okay, they would be in a hospital or in a surgery room every day. Every day. I mean, it happens every day, but I mean, it would be more if you could afford it. If you can't afford it, then that's your problem. It's not my problem. I didn't do my face. Does it look like I did my face? No. I was born like this. Michael doesn't look like me like this, you know? He looked like Michael. He looked like Michael, you know, the brown skin tone Michael. That's not who I look like. I look like at the one that he made himself to be. Okay?
I wasn't going to try to I was trying to let it play all the way through, but someone did their research. Apparently this guy was born in 1993. If you see the picture in the top left corner, that's Michael Jackson from the Remember the Time video. That video came out, I think, in 92, which was a year before he was born. So I'm trying to figure out, how in the world did Michael Jackson steal your new face if that is how he looked around the time that you were born? And by the way, Jackson, as it would be no shock to anybody, is not Fabio's real last name. I think it's, hold on, what is his last name? What is his last name? Because it's definitely not Jackson. I want to say it's Hernandez, but I could be wrong, but it's not Jackson. Oh, I'm trying to find it. Hold on. It's something like that, but it's not Jackson. I saw it somewhere, but I can't find it.
I look like that part, that era, that age. So I'm the original.
I wish he would turn that damn sound off, and I think that happens when he gets a notification, and that's the sound effect that's what it makes. So that's annoying as hell.
This is my look, and I claim it 100%. Get a lie detector if you want. I will pass that. Get a lie detector. I will pass it. I only did my nostrils, and this is my look. Complete friendship and innocence. You know,
I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Wallow.
Nothing.
Wallow, I completely agree. Like I said, it's a notification thing. That's clearly what it is. But yeah, I appreciate you, and shout out to you for being a member for 20 months.
You know, at the end, people were saying, we want to take photos of you. And I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
Of me, but he's the one that performed. You got to take photos with him. You better tip him to take photos of me. You know, and that's what happened.
Actually, now that I think about it, if you look at the picture that he has right there in the bottom left corner, that's Michael in the late 80s. That's the bad era. That would be before he was even born. So how in the hell did he take your face? I'm not understanding the logic. We understand that we have Michael Jackson impersonators, but at the end of the day, they know that they're not Michael Jackson. This guy actually thinks that he is, because what helped this actually go viral was when he did a reaction to the trailer, like most of the world did, and his stone cold facial expression that he was giving while it was playing, it almost looked as if he was so upset because he didn't get the call to play him. You actually thought that you were going to get called to play Michael Jackson when you have his nephew right there to play the part and actually does look like him and is moving like him and sounds like. I'm still stuck on the fact that when he started talking, that he sounded just like him. I'm like, because we've heard a lot of people imitate Michael Jackson's high-pitched voice, like his speaking voice over the years. But this one was so spot on. I thought that he came back from the dead and just started talking. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video mainly because that sound bite is annoying. But really, all it boils down to is this dude is absolutely insane. They better have some security when his premieres come up, because this guy might try to pop up somewhere. And that's the crazy part about it. He is hurting his own opportunities, because who knows? They could have had a whole competition where, best Michael Jackson impersonator gets an opportunity to get, a flight out to the LA premiere, and they'll put you up in a hotel. They'll, get you some clothes, and you go to the premiere and airfare and all of that. They probably are going to have something like that, like some kind of a contest. And you ruined your opportunity to do that, sir. Or maybe if you were a well-known impersonator, which seemingly you might be, they could have reached out to you and said, you know what? We like how you're imitating our loved one. We love that you're helping to keep his name alive. We would like to extend an invitation to you to come out to LA to the premiere of the film. But now that this is happening, that opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, is gone. If it were up to me, done. Exactly, Jesse. R.I.P. to Jordan Neely. But yeah, the one that really got me was the one Black Alpha played last night on his live when the sister was on there, and he was trying to tell her that Katherine Jackson was Hispanic and Japanese. Like, what the hell is he talking about? Then, yeah, someone said in the chat that he thought Randy Jackson from American Idol was one of Michael's brothers. No, you dingbat. They just happen to have the same first and last name, but they are not related. So that's the end of that. But let me go ahead now and drop the link in the chat, because I know y'all have a lot of stuff. Y'all have some things to say. But of course, I definitely still have to turn the timer on. But because it's Saturday, I will give y'all 3 minutes instead of the usual 2. Man. Oh my goodness. All right, of course. The first person up here, of course. Wallow J, what's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on, everybody? You about to call me a usual suspect? Come on now, Torian. Don't do me like that now. But nah, Fabio, that Shimon, you need to get. Oh my goodness, Torian! I was ready to go through that screen and knock him the fuck out. Seriously, that is so annoying. It got. Oh my goodness. Whew. But no, like, cause Miss shout out Miss Lisa, she talked about it too. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's drinking something, he's smoking something, but for you to sit here and act like, oh, Michael was white, like, no, you idiot. Michael was black. His whole family was black. You didn't see the Jackson, what was it, the Jackson Dream, the All-American Story? You didn't see that, sir? That came out in the 90s, right?
Ironically, it came out the same year he was born.
Yeah, I remember watching that on. It was on I don't know if it was on BET or MTV or something like that. I watched the rerun of that because I was barely born. Like, the whole family was black, so I'm trying to figure out why you trying to whitewash this whole family into a white family. Like, I don't understand the obsession with that. Like, everybody knew Michael was black. Michael said in every interview he was black. He said he had vitiligo, which was backed up by his autopsy. So I'm trying to figure out where is this Hispanic and Japanese coming from, dude. Like, shut your bitch ass up, man. God damn. People are just stupid these days. I don't know, Torrent. People are just stupid. And also, I want to show the love to the black moms. I'm not going to talk about that topic as much because I'd rather the ladies in the chat talk about it more than the men. So that's my statement on that. And I'll land there, Torrent. Be one.
All right, shout out to Wallow for coming up. All right, next up we got Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, brother Torian. I'm early today. I hope you're having an awesome weekend.
I am.
Anyways, this Fabio guy is really funny. I don't get. I think he might have some, like, not even kidding. I think he might have some serious mental issues. He needs to go get himself checked, because I've seen situations like this. I don't know if you know this performer, Bjork, the European singer from like she was really popular back in the 90s and stuff. She had a similar experience with this guy that was obsessed with her to the point where he almost took her out, and then he took himself out live on camera. It was all over the internet at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what mental illness can do to you if unchecked. So this dude needs to go check himself, because that is some crazy ish right there.
Exactly.
Also, the first video, the video with the young sister that was giving birth in the hospital, that really triggered me, because I went through a similar situation with my wife some years ago, and thank God that she and the baby are well, and the mother is very strong for what she did. And I really hope they get that nurse like out of that hospital and sue the pants off her, like sue her into the ground, because that is some BS. Anyways, I mean, those are the only two things I got to talk about. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. B1.
B1. All right. Shout out to Xavier for coming up. All right, Jonathan, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Oh, first off, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. That was very strange. What I heard with the four overweight, hungry hippos, and how they did it, and how they did that girl. Because man, when you first heard that, I was thinking, I thought either they ate her or they they used all their combined weights together and smothered her to death. That was the first thing I thought that came to mind. But thank God it wasn't. But either way, that was sick. Or what I just heard. Yeah, that lets me know like them folks really are the sickness. Um, Now that as for that Michael Jackson impersonator, he an idiot because like you said, that was a chance for him to not only be to cosplay, but he probably would have had a chance to be picked to play Michael Jackson in the biography movie. He could have
he had no chance. He had no chance. That was already locked in with his nephew. Like they wasn't about to go against that. Now maybe it could have been an opportunity where he could have been in the movie, you know, as a Michael Jackson impersonator, as a fan, because I'm sure that while Michael was alive, he had many impersonators while he was alive. They could have slipped him somewhere in there. But I mean, hey,
God's an idiot, man. You just ruined your own opportunity by telling on yourself, trying to make these ridiculous assumptions. Like people look at you crazy when you do stuff like that, and that's why they never get. They wonder why they don't never get taken seriously. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no more. How the hell did how you consider yourself the original Michael Jackson? And Michael Jackson was born in the 50s. You was like born in the 70s, 80s. He had to be
he was born in the early 90s.
Exactly my point. Michael Jackson was born in the 1960s or 70s, somewhere.
The 50s. He was born in 58.
Okay, yeah, that. But you tell yourself the original Michael Jackson. No wonder he ain't gonna never get an opportunity. Bro, I thought these people was crazy, but dang, bro, where did they get these assumptions from? Like, where the hell did you think you was the original Michael Jackson? How you the original someone when the dude was literally born before you came to Earth? Like, what the heck? So many people got me. Sorry, I'll be shocked if I even have the mentality to finish the rest of my work after hearing that dumb stuff. Yeah, you come up with some good stories and everything, and now I see why. Oh shit!
Thanks for coming up. Wallow got his wish. He's somewhere praise dancing on the other side of the screen. whenever I see that Jonathan in particular is about to get the buzzer, I look over to the chat because I know that Wallow is somewhere in there trolling because he only does it with him. All right, next up we got Jesse. What's going on?
It's the mayor. B1 salute. Hey, so much to cover. I'm gonna try to keep it short. All right, so the Michael Jackson impersonator. To hell with you, Fabio James. That's your real name. Why do these impersonators like Black Alpha Network said always impersonate the white looking MJ? Goddamn know that Michael Jackson is black, his family is black, and more specifically, they're FBA. They're FBA royalty. So what the hell this fool think he doing talking about Kathleen was half Japanese and half Latino? These mothers is a trip. They gotta get it together. Since we delineating, they losing their minds. Now they want to try to take over our icons and try to say that they something they not. They just need to stop. As far as Elon Musk's dad, to hell with him. He's a damn bore, just like Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is the reason why one of the reasons why we're not identifying as African American no more. Them days are over. Him and Mandani and Kamala Harris. The people under the stairs situation, that's just what them crackers do. I mean, what them cockazoids do, what them Nabiscos do. And for the the black mothers, this is why we need an anti-black hate crime bill. Period, point blank, simplest point put. It's horrendous how our sisters are treated in these hospitals. If I ever become a father, which I plan on becoming a father soon, I'm gonna make sure my wife has her child at home because this is ridiculous. These hospitals need to be sued. They need to lose all their funding. They need to be dealt with accordingly. Enough is enough of this. 2 of these incidents back to back, that should be more than enough to force the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, to actually do something about infant mortality, black infant mortality in this country. So that's all I had. Make sure y'all check out the Frontline Black News. I'm gonna beat the buzzer, Wallow J.
I appreciate you coming up. And he did beat the buzzer. He had 39 seconds left. Remember, Wallow, I told y'all 3 minutes today. Like I said, it's Saturday, so I'm giving y'all an extra minute. Joseph, what's going on?
Salute, Tarian. Salute to the chat room. I'm going to just be 30 seconds. Professor Black Truth covered the stories of those black mothers in his morning briefing throughout the week. And I'm glad you're keeping the story alive and well.
Oh, yeah,
This
definitely.
is what,
definitely. I said I was definitely going to incorporate those 2 into the live today.
all I'm going to say is this is why an anti-black hate crime bill is so important for foundational black Americans. And I hope that the silence that the sidetrackers are keeping when these stories happen remain the same when we present our demands to, those folks. And I'll land there.
Appreciate you coming up. All right, shout out to Joseph for coming up. Let's see, who do we got next? Don P, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Neff?
What's going on?
Man, in terms of the whole Jackson thing, we can never have anything exclusively to ourselves. We always have to share, always trying to be forced to share. I'm not even sure about that. What I want to say, I didn't even hear about that first story. The second story got all the publicity, but I didn't even hear about the first story. Matter of fact, when you played it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't remember her mother being there, but fair enough. Go ahead. Yeah. Listen. Them death pittles. The reason why we see the infant mortality and so forth and so on in our community, and it because it happens so frequently that water does go over the dam. But I want to say this to the family as a whole. When you go into them death pittles, like I said in the chat, it's only by the grace of the Most High that I'm here. These folks sent me home to die with an onset of epiglottitis in 2008. They sent me home, another location, sent me home with active pneumonia. I'm coughing up blood. And then my doctor, one of my other doctors I was telling him about, he said, man, they gave me the little test They saw that I had pneumonia and they admitted me in the hospital. I wasn't coughing or anything. White man. So we have to, and then here recently, because I just got back in the country, but while I was gone, I had an issue. And anyway, my finger was jacked up along with my knee. But I was telling him, hey man, my finger is jacked up, my middle finger. I think it's broke. I went for 3 fucking weeks with a broken finger and no attention to it. You got to be your own advocate in this death system that they want you to pay for. And they want to kill you with their damn pharmaceuticals. Anyway, y'all got to look out for your motherfucking selves. We ain't got no friends. We ain't got no comrades in arms. We are all that we got. And I don't give a fuck what y'all think about Africa, because that's where I was. That's where my ancestry comes from. And that's going to be the place you're going to need to run to when Babylon is destroyed. I land my plane there.
Shout out to Don Pete for coming up. Let's see, who do we got next? Jago the Rogue, what's going on?
What's going on, bro? It's kind of crazy, bro. They're trying to figure out what's all in the Epstein files. And I was thinking, like, maybe like the names of the people is in the Illuminati or something, or probably like the World Body Harvester Ring, or like, just a bunch of crazy organizations just all at Epstein place. But that's all I wanted to say, bro. I'm gonna get out of here.
I appreciate you coming up. All right, so I'm only bringing up one more person, so nobody click the link after this. Only bringing up the last person. But of course, before I bring them up, I gotta play their intro.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Hurricane Nisi, the floor is yours.
I'm gonna need more than 3 minutes, baby.
Okay.
I'm speaking to my FBA sisters who are mothers. And what I'm about to say, they know it to be true. Giving birth is the closest that any female is to death, because anything can go wrong. To my sisters, the young woman in Indiana and the young woman in Texas, the Most High was definitely with both of them. But watching those videos, Dorian, you can hear the pain in my voice, baby.
Yeah, I could hear the pain in your voice, and I also when it was playing, I was looking at the comments that a lot of the women, especially those who are mothers, were leaving in the comments. So I see it. That's why I said y'all bodies go through a lot.
I remember when I gave birth to my son, and I had back labor. Any of my women in the chat, no back labor ain't no fucking joke. It's no joke. I had an epidural. And to this day, I still don't know how many times I pushed. I just know, thank the Lord, my child was born. But Florian, it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to see our people treated like garbage. And it's days like this, I pray, I say, Lord, come for your people now. How much longer? I land there.
I don't really have much else to say after that. Like there's nothing I can really say after that. Like I knew when I put these two stories into this live, I knew that those were the two right there that was going to trigger a lot of people, especially a lot of the women who are even if the women in the chat aren't mothers, that was still going to make them feel some type of way, because they may have come across a story or know someone personally that may have gone through that. And that was hard to watch. Like I said, I only saw in the first video, the recorded video that lasted less than a minute. I didn't see the whole 9-minute news coverage that they did on it. And the same thing with the next one. I only knew about what happened after she gave birth in the truck, thanks to her husband. and I didn't see the whole news story behind that. And that triggered me as a person who will never, ever go through the experience of having or giving birth. So to all the women in the chat, whether you are a mother or not, but especially if you are a mother, I give kudos to you. Because I could never, as a man, I could never imagine what that's like. And then furthermore, having to see what these two women experience and then so close together. And now it's like, okay, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. In layman's terms, who is it going to happen to next? It's probably already happened for all we know. We just don't know about it because it hasn't been reported. But either way, y'all, that's going to bring this live to a close. We will have the True Crime Sunday tomorrow. I'm going to set that up. Of course, you know how True Crime Sunday works. We do the pre-show over here at 11:40, and then we do the live over on Rumble. And I'll tell you right now what the True Crime Sunday is going to be on. It's going to be on the North Hollywood shootout of 1997. So something that happened 28 years ago. So that is going to be the True Crime Sunday topic for tomorrow. So that being said, we're about to get up out of here. But before we do that, let me acknowledge again SD Johnson, Lynn, and Wallow for being a member for 20 months. But in the super chats, I greatly appreciate it. With that being said, we are about to get up out of here. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe, stay warm, but most importantly, be one.